is Disney's Animal Kingdom. If you travel the property at all, you can almost see where everything is. There's the big canal that runs through the northern savannah. As a matter of fact, that little crossover is still there, right in the middle of the elephant area of the savannah. See where the little road goes over the canal? And then that great big thing that looks a little bit like a racetrack, big chunks of that are still there. Pretty much where Asia is today, where the unbuilt part of Asia beyond Kali River Rapids, that's kind of where that is. And then as you look down that road that continues on down, you can kind of figure out where Africa goes almost halfway down, really, to where those, you see this sort of three big sandy patches. That's about where Africa is. And the Tree of Life is almost where that sandy patch starts to touch. It's sort of beyond that sandy patch, just the beginning of that band of dark foliage. It was just this gigantic piece of land that we were going to imagine we were going to do something interesting on. Which is, in a way, if you think about it, it's incredibly arrogant that a bunch of us just sat down and thought, yeah, would you please give us this giant piece of land and give us millions and millions of dollars and just trust us that we're going to do a really cool thing with all of it later that you can see when it's open. And for some reason that it escapes me to this day, they decided that that was a good idea, and we got to do it. But it did take many years before the company was ready to make that decision and to fund the project. And those years were spent in a tremendous amount of study and preparation to begin to be serious about getting Animal Kingdom built. This is us. I think we're measuring off the spot where the Tree of Life ended up being. And we sort of drove out. This was our first chance to go out on the site. We were all so excited. We put on our boots because we were all afraid of snakes. And we go tromping off into the middle of this site, most of which was cow pasture and the old fireworks testing area. But there were these little areas of trees in there, mostly the kind of scrub pine kind of stuff. And then the oaks, which of course in the end we saved the areas where we found the oaks. For those of you that weren't part of getting it built, or that weren't here on opening day, or that weren't privy to all of the stuff that went into describing the project when it first opened, it is kind of hard to imagine that once upon a time it was just sand. I mean, miles of sand. This is looking from the Tree of Life towards Asia. Those of you who can kind of recognize the scene a little bit will see that's the foundations of the Asia Bridge. You can see the little peninsula, doesn't even have the little temple on it yet. Down here is the shop. There's like nothing. When I came down here for my first, I relocated down here to build Animal Kingdom. I walk out on the site, and this is probably 1995, and it just looked like Mongolia. As far as you could see was nothing but nothing. Giant dunes of sand and imported soil stretching to the horizon with sandstorms on them. I mean, it's like Lawrence of Arabia. And you walk off onto this giant site, you really could not even see across the site, and far away you see a little truck and disappear behind some sand dune that's like a mile away. I actually got lost one day. I really did. I was walking, and because you got a picture, there's no navigational stuff, right? There's just mounds of dirt and trails of dirt, and some of them just dead end. And I'm walking along, and I realize I don't know where I am. I don't know where I am, and I don't know which way I'm going. And I'm surrounded by sand and sand dunes, and I go to the top of the sand dune, and I just see more sand dunes. I just have to walk until I get to the edge, and then that'll tell me I'll walk along the edge until I find something. So it's amazing, really, how much this is a creation. What we see today is a creation, a thing that was made, and in that sense, it's a fiction. It's a fictional thing. We made it up, we put it in, it grows, but because it's a story rather than a really, truly real place, you really have to always keep in mind, and we always try to keep in mind, the fact that it is meant to be structured like a story. And I don't know how many of you have ever read a book on storycraft or how to write your award-winning screenplay or how to write a play, but they generally all open with the same kind of information. And it talks a lot, as a matter of fact, about theme and about the fact that if you expect your story to hang together across the long run, you've got to do a lot of work right up front on what is the theme. And that word theme, some of you may know this, it drives me completely out of my mind crazy when I hear this word misused. Theme is a noun. It is not a verb. You cannot theme a thing. A theme is the underlying value system upon which a story is built. It is not the fake wood detailing on the outside of a box. So when you start by thinking about theme, you really have to ask yourself hard questions. Well, why am I interested in this story? What would move me emotionally about this story? Why would other people be interested in this story? What's the universal human value at the bottom of this story? That's going to be the theme. And if you can find those themes, and there can't be very many of them, because they start crossing past each other and getting way too complicated, you find those themes, you dedicate yourself to those themes, and you try to drive every single piece of design to follow these themes. Now, not the only one, but one of the major themes of Disney's Animal Kingdom is this intrinsic value of nature. This idea that nature itself has a value which is a greater value than the value of anything else that you can put on the other side of the balance. Nature's value is greater than money. Nature's value is greater than convenience. Nature has an intrinsic value, a value in and of itself. I don't have to save the environment because it's good for the watershed. I just can save the environment because it's got value. So if this is one of the fundamental values of Animal Kingdom, and we decided very early on, if you're going to have animals, by default, it's going to be, you're going to have this theme of nature. And the animals can't be strangers in this environment. This has to be a place where animals make sense. And animals don't behave like theme park audio animatronics. They have life, they have will, they do what they please, they live, they have babies, they eventually die. So if you're going to have a place that is about animals, it has to be about the very idea at the bottom of animals, which is the intrinsic value of nature. So if you set that at the base of an idea, and then you start to roll out a bunch of choices, the choices become very clear. It's really interesting. For example, if there was no Animal Kingdom, and you were faced with a choice of, okay, I want to do a park about the intrinsic value of nature. Is that park going to be fundamentally about architecture or fundamentally about landscape? Landscape. Landscape. It's just so obvious, right? So you go, okay, well, it's going to be about landscape. Well, this is a landscape element. This landscape element does not say very much about the intrinsic value of nature. As a matter of fact, it says a whole lot about the overwhelming power of mankind. It's a little plant surrounded by a circle and a bunch of pavement. It's a landscape object, so clearly the job is not yet done. There's more story work to be done before you even begin your design.